When I was a child, I was fond of Casper the Friendly Ghost and despised his evil uncles, the ghostly trio, who always made fun of him and spooky to anyone they encountered. One night, as I was sleeping, I woke up seeing the ghostly trio flying above the ceiling. I was frightened and cried unabatedly. My mother tried to appease me. Since then, I started to believe in ghosts. We also have a wooden statue of the Nazareno. My mother prayed devotedly to this statue of Jesus carrying the cross. His face in anguish made me feel sad and wanting to take away his sufferings. But one night I saw the statue moves. I wasn't frightened, but I felt an uncanny feeling. This experience made me believe in God and His supernatural power. But I was curious on how God communicates. In the Bible, God seems to speak directly to people, but I haven't heard of Him speaking to me. Even angels and Satan could talk directly to people. Imagine hearing a voice calling your name but no one was around. It once happened to me when I was a child. I was in my room and I heard a voice. My mom was calling me. I went to my mom and asked her why she was calling me. But then she said she did not. I got scared. Could it be a ghost calling me? The call is coming from a luminous voice beyond my arbitrary act of will and which my logical mind cannot explain. I was frightened then. Could it be the White Lady? Early in adulthood, I was awakened by the presence of a black naked woman on my bed. I twitched and jumped from my bed. I hastily concluded that it was the devil trying to seduce me. These were examples of an encounter with the numinous, a sense of awe, mystery, and wonder of its uncanny supernatural power. Something within me is calling me. What I saw and heard were symbols from the unknown. The unknown is uncertain. I would need to ponder what I really saw. If these were symbols, what were the meaning of these symbols? What messages do these symbols trying to convey? Yes, I have seen a ghost, the devil, and heard the voice of the White Lady. These visions were precursors to more numinous revelations that would appear in my dreams later in life. According to Joseph Lee, a Jungian analyst of this Jungian life, visions are intense intervention from the unconscious that breaks through our waking mind, forcing us to see the extraordinary that is not present in the physical environment. Just like in dreams, the unconscious also communicates in images and symbols. When ignored and repressed, the unconscious forces itself intensely through visions to awaken the mind, which usually follows with strong emotions of fear and awe or sometimes euphoria. Seeing spooky images like ghosts or the devil awakens me to my shadow, emotions, and desires I repressed. The unconscious was trying to communicate with me in symbolic images of the ghost and the devil, forcing its way into my awareness. Voices from my unconscious, tired of being vilified and set aside, rising in rebellion against the ego's repression of my personality. From childhood, I was raised religious and obedient. At 3, I already feared death. My caregivers told me frightening stories about the myth of Kamatayan stealing the souls of naughty kids, about the devil deceiving kids into sinning to bring them to hell. I should pray to God for protection and be saved from the evil one. Maybe these stories took my imaginative mind to work, and in my repression of my desires, in my fear, I began to see visions. Within is wanting to tame the fear, a call to appease the turbulence within. The most I could do was cry. For many years, I immersed myself in prayers, receiving the sacrament daily. I was an obedient child. There are moments that I felt the luminous presence in prayers, particularly during the times when I felt grateful to God for the blessings He gave me with my parents and friends around me. In this pure state, I felt the call to religious life. After seeing the Pope, I became certain what I want myself to be. It seems seeing the Pope was like seeing the divine. The call comes to a realization to respond to emerging needs of that time, the need for protection, and in grateful appreciation for not only I was protected but also loved and blessed with the luminous presence of the Pope. As I grew up, the struggle with the paradox of life was becoming complicated. My inner desires and my conscious mind, my ego, was in constant battle. For what? To please what was socially acceptable? To reach my ambitions to become what I aspire myself to be? Yet I have no control to what may soon happen. Can I control my inner desires from forcing itself to manifest outwardly? Can I control my mom from beating me for my lust for women? Can I control the loss of my attraction for women and my increasing admiration for men? Can I abate the increasing bullying for the effeminate around me? Shall I stay silent with the rejections I felt simply because I am different and failed their expectations? Yes, the rebel in me is started to rise. The demon from the vision is coming to life in me. I started to get tired being vilified and have learned to fight. Isn't this the call of my visions? The ghost trying to frighten me to wake me up and let myself do the frightening to others to wake them up from their prejudices and ignorance. Satan was a rebel and his apparition, though I with defiance and disgust, was a call for me to rebel and resist the hate and prejudices around me. Indeed, the devil is my shadow. I did not become him, but in God's grace imbibe his audaciousness to be bold in defying the evils of prejudices. When the yoke are too heavy to bear, dreams help in processing emotions, providing reassurance after a loss, an abandonment, or betrayal, allowing emotional release and provide a sense of peace, and sometimes dream could even present a solution to a problem that one is facing. In this dream, the wisdom from the unconscious mediates, such as in this one. In my dream, I was inside a bus filled with passengers. The bus driver called me to come to him. When I approached him, I was surprised because the bus driver was my best friend Nicky. He smiled at me, got up from his driver's seat, and asked me to take the wheels. He had me seated on the wheels. He stood beside me, guided my arms with both of his hands in steering the wheels. As I woke up, I felt happy because I dreamed of my best friend. Then I realized my best friend is a symbol of my dream. As a symbol, he represented Jesus. When I realized it was Jesus in my dream, I was filled with awe. In the youth ministry, one important image of Jesus is one who drives, to whom we entrust our lives in our journey. The dream came at a time when I needed most to uplift myself. I was in conflict with my family and community, and I was about to live independently from my parents to stay in Imus. At the same time, my conflict with my community escalated to affect my relationship with my parish, which eventually led to my resignation in my job in the parish renewal secretariat. Luckily, I was hired as a youth worker in another diocese. I consider this dream as a symbol of my mission. In the image of my best friend, calling me to take the driver's seat is a symbol of Christ calling me, entrusting to me the journey in his ministry. And until now, I hold this dream relevant to my ministry. Without knowing it, without being conscious of it, God speaks through my dreams, visions, and imaginations in images and symbols beyond my apprehension. It took some time before I realized that the Lord Jesus was speaking to me When I dream of myself being lured by the lover to the volcano, devoured by its lava, yet survive unscathed. I had many interpretations of the lover. Could be my ex-partner, could also be my community, the church, but to whoever the lover was, the call for integration and allness of my being was there. The call was clearer upon the realization that it was the Lord, since in Scripture it was Him who calls to follow Him, not to expect an easy life but to take His cross in following Him. The dip into the lava is a symbol of my series of betrayals, disappointments, and suffering. But how could I compare mine to those who followed Christ before me? In another dream, the rebels were rounded up for the death march. They forcibly took my partner to the march. I couldn't bear to part with him. I grabbed his hands and joined him. The road was taking up to the barren mountain of Antipolo. Too many people were rounded up. I remember that Antipolo is a popular pilgrim site where on top of the mountain is the shrine of the black image of Our Lady of Peace and Good Voyage. I was expecting a horrible scene for the death march, but as we arrive at our destination, there seems to be a joyful rally. I lost my partner. I tried to look for him. I felt bad and abandoned. So I walked back home feeling disappointed and betrayed. When I arrived home, I found my partner inside. He hugged me, worried, looking for me. I felt relieved and happy. When I woke up, tears fell. It's been more than a year since he passed away. I remember the times when I took the initiatives to take his burden because seeing him suffer breaks my heart. And when I felt he disappointed and betrayed me, I felt broken. But I was not perfect either, and most of the time vengeful and broke his heart too. Yet, we confessed to each other, we admitted our shadows, laughed at ourselves, and even talked about the funny things we did when we hurt each other. But still, despite the hurting we did to each other, we forgive and embrace. He was the projection of my anima. The lover in me is also found in him. And his honesty brings wholeness to me that even if he is gone, I have his memories in my heart. I withstand all the sufferings because of the passion and love within me, that powerful energy from my libido which my anima, my soul, possessed. As I reflect on this, flashes of images came to my mind, the martyrs of Compiègne, Saint Therese of Avila, Saint John of the Cross, and Saint Therese of the Little Flowers of Jesus. The road of the death march was a symbol of sufferings, and on top of the mountain, the destination was the shrine of Antipolo. The shrine reminded me of the Black Madonna as the Lady of Peace and Good Voyage. To this image I once associated my soul, the Mother Anima. This made me realize the gift of love within that withstand the sufferings, and in laughter, I and my partner live, love, and let go, forgiving each other and remain together. The lady is a symbol of peace and good voyage, reminded me of the turbulent path ahead. She reminded me of the call to continue with my pilgrimage in this life. I shared the same calling as that of Teresa, John, and Therese and the martyrs of Compiègne. The call to a union with God, and where else can I find Him but in my wholeness within myself, embraced with my soul, my anima, and my shadow. This union, I had fleeting experiences of momentary encounter with the divine, the luminous, with my family, my partners, and my community. Life goes on, and there's a lot to be looking forward. There will be more challenges as I walk in this pilgrimage through this road of the death march. My visions, my dreams, and active imaginations revealed to me symbols that were calling me to listen to my unconscious, to embrace my anima, to befriend the shadow and understand what their desires to bring myself to wholeness. All these are calling me to listen to the luminous voice within, or else it will haunt me in dreams and in my visions. This luminous is the God that lives in my heart, God's dwelling place, my refuge and my hermitage. I have gone through the lava and continuing to march in this valley of tears. The lady, my anima, is within to guide me in this journey. The anima, my lover, will always remind me of my calling to live life to its fullness. He comes to me in dreams to arouse me, to keep reminding me as he did in this dream. I went to my room and I was surprised someone was sleeping in my bed, covered with my blanket from head to toe. Whoever he is, I don't want to disturb his sleep. But I was curious who this guy is, so I lifted the blanket. No one was there but piles of books. When covered, I mistook it for a guy sleeping in, so I put the cover back. But then I felt inside the blanket a mouth sucking my thumb. I felt an erotic sensation. I was enjoying the moment. But I decided to leave my room when I heard a call, someone knocking at the door. I opened the door. A gorgeous guy was to hand me a note. It says, I left something important in my room. Do not ignore. If I am to reflect what the dream means to me, I would initially take notice of two images, the books and the suckling of my thumb. I also take notice about the note. It says there is something important left in my room. What was something important in my room? The books? I feel the books are symbols of my education. It strengthens my conscious mind, an ego strength that equip me with proper knowledge, attitude, and skills in endeavors I wanted for myself, beefing up that persona, that mask I wear. Isn't it that this is something we value in our culture, in our society? But is it really a call coming from God? Maybe, but what does a divine calling means? What does vocation means? Traditionally, it has a religious connotation, but secularization gave it another meaning, which is one's inclination, profession, or occupation. Whether secular or religious meaning, it is important to discern this inclination. When I try to follow my father's wish for me to become a lawyer, I only look into my own personal goal of being of service to those in need. Yet, I did not discern about my inclination and the necessary disposition and discipline required of that profession. When I found out, I tried to persist in my studies of law, but it distressed me, and I ended up dropping from the course. I also studied, passed, and got licensed as a financial advisor, but after a year, I dropped it too and never renewed my license because I discovered I couldn't stand its requirement, temperament, and character. In both cases, in studying law and finances, I felt a rumbling in my soul. It was so disturbing because I was not consulting my inner desires. I was only looking to heed what the world wants of me, to build a strong ego, a pleasing, powerful, and admirable persona. I was only concerned for my own survival, but the rumbling within only causes not only internal chaos, but also strain interpersonal relationships. It took a while for me to understand the meaning of the suckling of my thumb by the books beneath the blanket. If the book was transformed into a warm bodied person when covered by the blanket, could it be a symbol of my anima, the soul within, which is the conduit of my passion? Especially in those studies where I find more fervent, glowing interest, such as my studies in sociology, psychology, pastoral ministry, theology, or even studying dances like salsa and hula, studies that even created a niche for me in professions I enjoy doing, such as doing research and teaching. I should go back to my room. Yes, my room was my place for reclusion, contemplation, and prayer. And so, I must contemplate and discern what this calling is. Coming from the books, my education, and my inherent inclinations, my passion for the social sciences and research, and their application to pastoral ministry. The suckling of my thumb was an invitation for me to heed, to feel, and not just to hear the call.